Hi, Joe. It's good to see you. I understand you were in the hospital again last month.
Yeah. My breathing got bad again. My daughter brought me to the emergency room and they put me in the hospital again for a few days.
You've really been through a lot over the past several months.
Yeah, it's been tough. I've been in the hospital more than I expected.
Would it be okay to spend some time talking about what's important to you as we look ahead and plan your health care?
Sure, I think that's fine.
Before we make any decisions, it's important to fully understand your medical problems. Do you have a good understanding of what's wrong with your lungs?
I think so. I've had a lot of doctors talk to me about it, so I'm pretty sure I understand everything. Sure, I think that's fine.
To make sure we're on the same page, tell me what you know about your COPD and what you think the future might look like with it.
Well, I need oxygen pretty much all the time. My lungs just aren't able to push air in and out like they used to. And I know there's no cure. Since I've been out of the hospital, I haven't really bounced back yet. But I've been through this before. It has to get better. I'm a fighter.
COPD is a tough disease, and you've had to be strong to put up with it for this long.
Yeah. It's been really hard. I have bad spells, but I always get better.
I think it's time to talk about what treatments are working and what treatments wouldn't help you as things get worse.
Okay. Yeah. It's been really hard. I have bad spells, but I always get better.
Unfortunately, the COPD is getting worse. The bad spells are coming more often, and at some point it will be difficult to bounce back.
What are you saying? Yeah. It's been really hard. I have bad spells, but I always get better.
Given that the bad spells are coming more often now, I'm concerned that we're in a different place than we were at this time last year.
But I'm a fighter. I know I can still beat this thing. There's got to be something more you can do.
You are a fighter. I really admire that about you. It must be tough to hear your COPD is getting worse.
It is hard. I guess I knew it was coming. I can't do anything without getting worn out, and I hate being practically helpless. I used to do everything for myself. I used to have the best yard in the neighborhood. Now I can't even mow the grass. My son-in-law has to do it, and he never has time.
That must be so frustrating.
It's the worst.
Is it okay to talk now about where we go from here?
I guess so.
Given what's happening with your health, what's most important to you?
I want to spend time with my wife, my daughter, and my grandkids, not going back and forth to the hospital if I can help it. I want to sit on my front porch, in my rocking chair, petting my dog.
Sounds like spending time at home, relaxing with your family and your dog is really important to you. What else?
If I could just stay at home with my family and my dog, that would be good.
Okay. So, as you think about the future, is there anything you want to avoid?
I don't know. I don't want to be in the hospital any more than I have to. But I worry about what I'll do if my breathing gets worse again. I think it would be tough on my wife if she had to help me with a bad spell by herself. I don't want to put her through that.
Since it's important for you to stay at home, could your daughter help out?
My daughter goes to work, so she can't be there all the time. My wife couldn't handle it on her own, and I don't want to stress her out. I don't know. I don't want to be in the hospital any more than I have to. But I worry about what I'll do if my breathing gets worse again. I think it would be tough on my wife if she had to help me with a bad spell by herself. I don't want to put her through that.
So, it sounds like you would want to manage your breathing at home as much as possible, but you would consider coming to the hospital if your breathing was really bad.
Yeah, that's right.
It's helpful to know in advance whether you would or wouldn't want certain procedures if you got very sick. One of these procedures is called mechanical ventilation. Have you heard of that?
Mechanical ventilation?
Mechanical ventilation helps you breathe when you can't breathe on your own. It doesn't fix the COPD that causes your lung problems in the first place. It's sometimes used to support someone's breathing when trying to help them get over a bad spell caused by COPD and usually a new problem like pneumonia.
Okay. Yes, I've heard of that, but I don't know very much about it.
One type of mechanical ventilation uses a machine called a ventilator to push oxygen into the lungs through a tube, usually placed through the mouth into the windpipe. If a person needs a ventilator for more than about 2 weeks, this tube has to be changed to a shorter tube directly into the windpipe through a hole in the neck, which would require short surgery.
My neighbor across the street was on a breathing machine after he got sick a couple of years ago. He's still having a lot of problems.
Some people need it for short periods of time, and others need it longer. Whether a person can eventually breathe on their own again depends on whether their illness gets better with treatment. Some people find it uncomfortable, and it can raise the risk of infection, and sometimes, even if a person gets better enough to breathe on their own, they are too weak to live at home anymore, or they may need a lot of extra help.
I visited my neighbor when he was in the hospital. It looked awful. I'd hate to be stuck on a breathing machine like a vegetable.
It sounds like you wouldn't want to be stuck on a breathing machine, and I can understand why you would make that decision. Some people decide to give the breathing machine a try for a short time, and if they don't get better, they want to stop it. What about you?
No, I don't even want to do that. I'm worried that I'd end up too weak to take care of myself, and I don't want to take that chance.
I can tell how important your independence is to you. Another type of breathing assistance involves pushing oxygen through a mask that is placed over the nose and mouth. It doesn't involve putting a tube down your windpipe. It's used to help make it easier for someone to breathe. How would you feel about that?
My wife uses something like that when she sleeps. I would be okay with that.
So let me see if I have this right. You want to spend time with your family and your dog at home, and you want to keep doing what you're able to do now for as long as possible. You don't want to be on a breathing machine with a tube down your windpipe, even if it's temporary. You would be okay with breathing assistance if it didn't involve a tube in your windpipe. Do I have that right?
Yeah, that's right.
It's really important for your family to know what's important to you and what you want, in case you're ever too sick to make healthcare decisions for yourself. Your wife is your next of kin, so she's the person who would be authorized to make healthcare decisions for you. Is that okay with you?
I don't know. I worry that would be really stressful for my wife. Would it be okay if my daughter made decisions for me in that situation? I'm sure my wife would be relieved if my daughter could take care of that.
Sure. You can name your daughter as your authorized surrogate decision maker by completing an advance directive form. Would you like our social worker to help you with that?
Yeah, I think I'd like to do that.
I'll ask our social worker to help you with the advance directive form, and I hope you'll talk to your wife and daughter at home about what you'd want. If it makes it easier, we can set up an appointment so you can bring them in to review everything.
That sounds like a good idea. I'm sure they'll have some questions.
Okay, I'll set that up. Thanks for taking the time today to help me understand what's important to you. I will record all of this in your chart so everyone who takes care of you has easy access to this information. And be sure to let us know if you think of anything else or if you change your mind about something.
Okay, I will. Thanks a lot for your help, Doc.